What a great pleasure it is to be here with the best dressed man in the history of boxing, always with the nice double-breasted suit. He is the one and only Frank Warren of Queensberry Promotions, who just announced a couple hours ago that it's going down the rematch September 23rd at the OVO Arena, live on the newly rebranded TNT Sports. It's the big rematch between Zhilei Zhang and Joe Joyce. Back here in London, a fantastic fight, which I can't wait to talk to you about. My first time meeting you in person, Frank, and talking to you in person, so I appreciate this very, very much. First things first, though, before we get to the actual business at hand, how are you feeling, sir? I understand that you've had some back issues as of late. You weren't at the first fight, right? That's probably why Joe lost.
That's why he lost. If he could take my advice, we wouldn't be having this rematch now. I'm much better, thanks for asking. I'm looking forward to it. You know, I watched it at home and nearly had a relapse watching it. But Joe's got to learn from that fight. 'Cause if he doesn't, then obviously he won't win. And he's got a lot of work to do, and he knows that. The doctor stopped the fight. I think it was in the 6th round because he couldn't see out of his eye. It'd be interesting if he hadn't had the eye injury. I've been interested to see what happened with the fight and whether in the latter rounds that he'd have got on top of him, which was how I thought the fight would pan out. But he's got to cope with the southpaw style. He's got to have a lot of head movement. He can't afford to take shots, to throw shots, and basically he's going back to the drawing board. And this for him is a career-defining fight. He needs to win this fight. There's a lot happening in the heavyweight division over the next few months, and he needs to be in that position of owning the WBO interim championship, which makes him the mandatory to whoever is the champion after the fight between Usyk and Daniel Dubois. So he's got a lot to aim for. If he wants to be in the mix, he can't screw it up. He's got to be on the money on the night.
You know him so well. When you're watching at home back in April, are you saying that's not the Joe Joyce that I know? You know, the best version of him.
It certainly wasn't the best version. I mean, look, I'd be a liar to say he doesn't get caught in fights. And normally, you know, he's a tough guy. He takes. I don't like it, by the way. He was taking a shot to throw a shot, but I really felt that he couldn't cope with that southpaw style to start with. But from his perspective, it wasn't like he was wobbling or he was on the ropes and all that. It was an eye injury.
Was there any talk of not going down the rematch route and fighting someone else, build your confidence back up, tune-up fight, things of that nature?
We were trying to make the fight between Zhang and Tyson, and we were quite close to doing that, but Joe insisted on the rematch.
Did you try to convince him not to take the fight and go a different route?
We had a chat. There was a chat with his management team about that, but he was insistent upon it, and so that's where we are. Right.
You learn a lot about a fighter when they have that next fight after their first pro loss, right?
Yeah.
You get to learn truly, especially a stoppage. And I'm just wondering, he has said in the past that he doesn't love boxing, he enjoys it, but he didn't grow up a boxing fan. You know, he kind of fell into this later in life. Is there any part of you that wonders if the loss and the way it all went down will like fully sort of cancel out that passion that he has for boxing and this will be the left turn in his career?
That's a really good point that you make. But I think the answer to that is that he's asked for the rematch. And I think for me, I look at that thinking, look, if I can't beat this guy, then what am I doing? And I think that's his mentality. You know, he knows that's his toughest challenge. And in taking the fight in the first place, he was number one. He was the WBO interim champion, the mandatory challenger for that title. And number 2 was Zhang. He could have fought somebody further down. And they picked him, they wanted him, and between us, we made the fight happen. So he's not a guy who's ducked anyone. We were trying to make the fight with him and Joshua. Joshua didn't want to know. Joshua didn't want to fight Zhang because they were in the same under the same promotional umbrella. So you've got to take your hat off to him and to say, right, you know, all right, okay, I went in there, I come unstuck. I'm going straight back on it. I want this. I'm going straight to it. You've got to take your hat off to him.
The word that Joe used after the fight, he said it was annoying, which I thought was a really interesting word. Not frustrated, not heartbroken. I'm sure he was all those things, but you don't often hear a fighter say this is annoying, like a nuisance. And so if I may steal that phrase from Joe Joyce and say, with all due respect, I feel very annoyed with the heavyweight division. I'm not frustrated. I'm annoyed.
Yeah.
I'm tired of the updates. I'm tired of the tweets. I think I speak for all the fans when I say this.
Yeah.
And I'm not pointing a finger
You
at
speak
anyone.
for me.
Okay, this is annoying.
Yeah.
So can we clear this up once and for all?
Let's go.
What is going on? Especially starting at the top. There's no greater fighter in that division than your man Tyson Fury. We hear updates. It's happening. It's not happening. This is where do we stand right now with Tyson?
So,
Break some news for us here and now for BT Sport.
So last year, Tyson wanted a fight in November, early November. We were planning for that fight because the thing was for him to fight Usyk afterwards in Saudi. So that's where we got to. Then they wanted to push it back till December, and we said fine. Then we was looking at that. Then it was Usyk won't be ready because he sustained an injury in the fight against Joshua, so that won't be until February. In the meantime, Tyson's been out the ring since last April. So the decision was then, speaking to Tyson, he said, right, let's offer AJ the fight. He can have 60-40, which was very generous. No complaints about that. No complaint from him about the money. And that's the way we were moving. Subsequently, AJ said he wouldn't be ready till December, so we moved from the November fight to December. Then Saudi Arabia skill set came back to said, look, we can do the fight in February. Then they said we can do the Usyk fight now in April 29th. Then they said to us, look, we have a problem. The venue that we want to put it in on won't be ready until December this year. So that's what happened. Zora was the highest available guy in the WBC rankings, so that's the reason we made that fight. We all know what happened in that fight. Then Usyk was told that the fight wouldn't take place by a skills challenge until December, so then we tried to make the fight in the UK. Not once, 3 or 4 times. And he said that he would fight him at Usyk, and cut a long story short, at the end of the day, they had second thoughts, and the reason they had the second thoughts is because they are looking for the big pay in Saudi for December. Because in their head they're going to get $75 million, $80 million for that fight. Get that, understand it. But stop saying that it's about greediness and all that. Tyson wants to get the fight and wanted to make the fight in the UK. If you want to talk about why you're doing it for money, which you can also say that's greedy because you don't want to wait. You want to wait until that date. In the meantime, the WBA put it on Usyk and said you have to have your mandatory, because if you're not making a unification, you've got the mandatory. That fight is against Daniel Dubois. We said just get it out the first piece. It went to first piece. That fight will take place on the 26th of August in Poland. Daniel's going to win that fight. That'll take place. He's
going to be the Zhang to Usyk's
yeah,
Joyce.
I think so. So that fight's going on. So that's why the Usyk fight didn't happen. And obviously, if they don't fight Daniel, then he'd have to lose the belt. He'd have to vacate that belt. So now you've got no unification. Now, in the meantime, we revisited the thing with AJ to try and make the fight with AJ and Tyson for September. Said same terms, 60-40. Anyway, they're not interested. They don't want to fight him. They are waiting for for a skills challenge to put a fight on in Saudi between him and Deontay Wilder, where they're going to get 50, 60, 70.
And now they're saying Dillian White, that fight's back on. That's talks. Joshua and Dillian White.
Ain't gonna happen.
Not going to happen? They just reported like 10 minutes ago.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Maybe he's.
I'm breaking news to you.
Maybe he's going to get embarrassed into it.
Well, I don't even think anyone wants to see these fights. They want to see Tyson Fury versus Usyk, or they want to see Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua.
I agree.
Or is Francis Ngannou back in play with all these things? What is going on? Is there any talks of that?
I don't know. What we'll see in the next, and it will be fairly soon. I hope in the next couple of weeks we'll be in a position to announce what is going on, which is going to be a game changer.
What's the game changer? What
I'll
could
tell you
change
now.
the game?
I was telling you that right now.
BT Sports.
If I was telling you that right now, then it wouldn't be a game changer.
Okay.
So you got to wait. But
what could possibly? The only thing, honestly,
it'll be a game changer.
You know what's a game changer to me? Him versus Francis Ngannou. First time the lineal heavyweight boxing champion fights the MMA heavyweight.
Let's see what happens. Who knows? That may be.
Is it true that he got an offer from the UFC? He said that he.
Yeah.
What was that offer?
Dana got in touch. We spoke to them to do the fight.
And
Tyson said They want Tyson in a cage, and he said, "I'll do one in the ring and one in a cage."
That's fun. That's a game changer.
So
Is that the one?
No. That'd be a game changer.
Okay. What is your prediction? Do we see him in 2023?
Yes, 100%.
October or December?
Late September, October.
Wow. Okay, so perhaps sooner than expected.
Yeah.
And who will he be facing?
An opponent.
Okay. TBD.
TBD.
It'll be a big fight.
It'd be a massive fight.
All right. What about his brother? Is he fighting KSI?
I don't know what's happening. I think that'll happen, but we're not involved in that.
You're not involved?
No, we're not involved in that. We had our last fight with him on, which was the last one, which we put together.
The Jake Paul fight?
Yeah.
It wasn't a good relationship.
What
with Tommy?
No, we had a good relationship, but we're doing our thing, he's doing his thing, and I wish him all the best because he's a lovely fella.
Okay. For you, do you still enjoy this as much as you did
Yeah,
in the
that's
early
why I'm
days?
here.
I know. I feel the passion. I love
that's
it.
That's why I'm here.
But does any part of you with all this, we talked about the annoyances, you're like, oh, you know what, I'm getting a little too, I don't want to say, oh, but enough is enough for this stuff. Like at some point, don't you want to be on a beach and have a pina colada?
Just come off the beach.
Oh, okay. You look fantastic.
Yeah,
I was going to note your tan looks great.
I just come off the beach, yeah. So
you don't get tired of it?
No.
No.
And also, we're not just heavyweight boxing.
Of course.
We've got some very good fighters on BT, which is going to be TNT. So you're going to see the best on TNT. There's some great fights coming up. I'll tell you what, you are going to love it. I mean, you bought in, you guys, TNT. You bought in at the right time.
But you know who I'm very excited about?
Young
Moses.
There you go. Look,
you weren't expecting
we're
that.
We're always building.
19 years of age.
19 years of age.
How soon?
No, sorry, 18 years.
18 years of age.
18.
How soon before he's? What do you think?
Look, if he had his way, he wants to do it tomorrow. we're gonna. We're not right. No one's. Like boxing is a marathon. It's not a. What I would say 100-yard dash, which you would say is a 100-meter dash because you're much younger than me, but. That's what it is. So we've got to pick the right moment and the right time. But he's somebody who's in a hurry, and he's well equipped to be in a hurry.
Yeah, he could be the next guy.
He could, and we've got David Adelaide out there, and he's got some big fight. We've got the best heavyweight talent out there. Best by far.
Just want to ask you in closing. I've said that I think this is one of the best years for boxing in a very long time.
Yeah,
it's nice to see all the promoters relatively on this, like working together, right? We're seeing some co-promotions,
yeah, we're seeing
unifications.
We're seeing something. Most of them have been forced by, for example, the Usyk and Daniel. That's down to the governing body forcing that to happen. Yeah, but we're all trying. Look, we're trying hard to do it. At the end of the day, it's a horrible thing to say, but sitting there with AJ and he's going to get 70 million, or whether it's going to get 50 million to go and fight in a 10-round fight in Saudi for skill challenge. Does he want to risk that by fighting one of the other guys? And that's the truth. That's why these fights have not been happening.
Right.
That's the truth of it.
In a weird way, if it wasn't for the Saudi component, maybe some of these fights would have happened already.
The Saudi thing's been a bit of a double-edged sword in some ways. Great for the fighters. Yeah. It's great for everybody because they're paying money like they're doing in other sports. It's not just boxing. From boxing's point of view, it's what I don't want to see is all these fighters sitting around and waiting
for that big pot of gold.
We need to get on because subscribers want to see fights on a regular basis, and we want to make sure they happen on a regular basis.
And can I just ask you, because I love this sort of thing, who's your favorite promoter to work with? If you have to co-promote, who's one that's easy to get on with?
The easiest guy to get on with is, for us, I think, is Top Rank.
Who's the one that you absolutely won't work with?
The one we've not been able to work with is Tom Pepper Promotions.
Tom Pepper Promotions.
You have to look that one up.
I feel like that one goes over my head, and you kind of threw me a curveball, as they say.
No, it's Tom
I
Pepper.
thought you were going to go in a different direction, and then you.
No, you got it. That's the art of the game. See,
what a guy!
You was waving that right hand wing to the left hook.
Still got it. You still got it after all these years. There he is, the great Frank Warren. Please do tune in on September the 23rd on the brand new TNT Sports at the OVO Arena. It's going to be Zhilei Zhang against Joe Joyce 2. We're going to find out a lot about Joe Joyce, right?
We're going to
answer a lot of questions.
We're going to answer some questions. So TNT is the place to be. Watch it.